Well, just a quick recap. In the last session, you all went to Torgrad, and then you investigated the mysterious body that was down there in the memories of the Box of Five, which have now been known to you as thought strands, pieces of memories that have been left behind or taken forcibly from different people. In Torgrad, you all found yourselves in an ancient armory where there had been a plethora of old ancient weapons that had mostly been decayed. Finding a couple of pieces of treasure and some danger that was down there as well, you all made your way back up to the surface and began to return these memories to their rightful owners. Which kind of culminated in you all being at Lord Silverrose's estate, and after some intense, very intense diplomacy, you had convinced him to touch the box and to retrieve his memories. And to your all of your surprise, there have been hundreds, if not thousands, of these blue lights that had shifted and sunken into his skin. And the room stood there in silence for what seemed like an eternity. Eventually, the form of the imposing figure that had commanded your respect and had barked at you in hushed paranoia and given you orders and driven you out fades a bit. And in front of you, instead of this imposing figure of Lord Silverrose, is simply a man. Just a simple human being. And when his eyes come back to him, finally, after the very long, paused moment, he takes a step back, away from the box. The memory is still... You can see in his expression, there's this distinct look of regret, of mistakes made in his eyes. And he stands there kind of looking at you all. Now, it almost as if it was the first time he's really seeing you as people. And he goes and he sits back down in the chair, but not in that same authoritative position that he was in before. More contemplative, with his hands crossed in his lap in front of him. I owe all of you for this.
How are you feeling?
Clearer. Things are clearer. I suppose you all must have many questions for me, as I for you.
I mean, we do have a lot of questions. I'm just trying to put it all together in my head.
Tell us about two.
I'll tell you what I remember, at least what you brought back to me. She came months back and immediately was asking me questions about the family crypt. It's off maybe 20 minutes from the town. It's where we bury the town's dead. Those unfortunate to be lost in the mines or to monsters or to health or just old age. It's where we lay our dead down to be buried, and she was insistent that there was something in our ancestral family tomb, the Silver Rose tomb, some sort of a weapon or a key. She referred to it as a key several times. She said it was something called the Dagger of Spite. It's not something that was known to me, but he pauses trying to relive some of these memories, and you can see it's almost painful for him to pull some of this up. I know now that she bewitched me, but in my fugue state, it was hard for me to tell. I know that she could whisper dark tidings in my ear that bred paranoia and distrust of others. And it wasn't just simple words, there was a magic to it. She convinced me to have my old advisor leave. convince me to send guards away from the house to keep it unguarded, but to simply keep some at the gate to keep the riffraff from coming in, which has never been the way we've done business here in Briarton. Oh, how the townspeople must hate me for what I've done. A few weeks after she was here, she went off to the crypts. She returned soon after, and they wanted to know information about Torgrad, some ancient ruins outside of town. Most of the time, the townspeople steer clear. There's nothing there but old stones and monsters, for what the adventurers in the past have told us. And then, when she left for Torgrad, about, 2 weeks ago, give or take a few days, she never returned after she was there.
Well, I'll take out the dagger of spite and show it to him. And I'll sort of just put it down in front of him since it's from his ancestral tomb. We believe this is the dagger of spite, and from what we can tell, she used it to complete some sort of ritual on an altar in Torgrad, and took care of Thomas the huntsman,
Thomas.
and used him in this sacrifice. And unfortunately, he didn't make it. But she retrieved something from under the altar in Torgrad, and whatever that is, that's where she went. That's what she was here for.
Unfortunately, I don't know much about these things. The ruins outside town, adventurers have been plundering those ruins for God knows how long, coming back and saying there were monsters, or corpses, or other manner of nightmares inside. The crypt, though, the family crypt, I mean, I've been there many a times to pay homage, especially during the winter festival. We honor the dead. There's never been, I've never seen the dagger before, so where she got it, I couldn't tell you. And for what ends, I don't know.
I'll turn to Garish and Kaivu and be like, do we feel like we should investigate this crypt to possibly, I don't know, glean more clues about the origins or this dagger, or maybe even find out where she was going, because I'm not so sure anymore.
This may be our only lead.
We need to track her down.
I also have many questions for the woman. Honestly, I would like to see her head roll, but I feel like having a cooler head might prevail in this situation. Answers are what we seek now, more than anything else. I think the question that stands above all others, the question that's the most prevalent in my mind is, if she could do things like what she did to me and my guardsmen, what is she doing here? Why waste all this time and effort? Whatever was down there in Torgrad must have been of immense power.
Someone willing to go to such ends to retrieve an item of this magnitude can't be left alone. We definitely have to locate her somehow.
Well, I spent enough time with her. I suppose he ponders, and Gregory, the mage sent from the capital from guiding light. He might know some people that might be able to help you track her down, although he doesn't seem to be a specialist in that sort of thing himself. Otherwise, I think he would have done it already.
Gregory's in the room, correct?
No, he did not go in the room with you. The two guardsmen did, but Gregory did not.
Okay.
Perhaps he can do more when he's not wary of your paranoia.
Yes.
You were very suspect of all things magical.
I suppose having your head toyed with, as mine had been, is a understanding position to be in. If you all do decide to go to the family crypt, I give you my blessing. You may go. He thinks for a moment. The easiest way would be to go north out of town, and you'll find some signs that lead to the cemetery. About 10 minutes or so walk north of town. It'll take you east off the road. There you should find it. Though I'm not sure what more help there would be for you there. Maybe we'll provide more questions and answers.
Sometimes questions have a way of pointing us to the answers we seek.
When you get back, return to me here. I have a few things I need to set in order now that you've freed me. When you return, I will have something I think would be becoming of such adventurers as yourselves.
I guess with that, we'll take our leave. And I guess we'll go maybe find Gregory? Since we're already here.
Yeah.
And
As you guys
we're
turn
just
to walk
outside.
out the door, I believe his name is Colin, which is the guard that you know by name. It's here somewhere in my notes. I certainly have it in my notes. Somewhere. Why do I keep so many notes? Colin. The guard Colin begins to escort you out, and Lord Silverrose kind of just waves his hand and says, "They're fine. Let them wander." And Colin just shrugs. Nods to you all as you all walk through the door. Gregory is standing just outside, looking eager to know the results. How did it go?
His will is now his own.
That's fantastic news. I think everyone here in Barrett's knows you all a great debt.
We are very interested in tracking down this individual, and Lord Silverrose did mention to us that you may know some people who might be able to aid us in tracking her down and bringing her to justice.
It's an interesting prospect. I'm more of the... I'm not much of a divination specialist myself. Certainly have colleagues that might be able to do that sort of thing if you all head towards guiding light in your journeys. You could look for Archmage Tybalt.
Archmage Tybalt. And he's a divination specialist?
Yes,
Would
he is a sage, yes.
Would he recognize your name if we were to sort of use you as a point of introduction?
I would hope so. I studied under him for many years. I think I can probably send a letter ahead and let him know if he sees any of you to, be nice to you. He can be a bit rough at times, but he's a good man.
That would be much appreciated to help smooth some inroads.
Even so, roughness is no matter.
Just, he's very strict in his teachings. He doesn't, he's not too happy about failure. As well, there's, if you can't get a hold of Tybalt, or if he's out, Loria, Archivist Loria, would also be able to help you.
Well, this is a great deal of help. We are going to be leaving shortly to go search the family tomb. As we found out, that's where um,
2.
2 has gone to retrieve this item, and I hold up the Jagger of Spite again to, you know, begin this ritual. So we're hoping we may find a clue of some sort. They'll either lead us in the right direction or maybe even provide some answers.
Give me an insight check as you kind of explain your plans. And with a 17, when
Oh God.
you mention the graveyard, there is a moment of worry that crosses his face, just for a moment, when you say graveyard. Well, I would wish you the best of luck, and to be careful if you decide to go out that way.
Oh, we certainly shall.
The groundskeeper of the graveyard itself we've not heard from him for a while. He's sort of been a recluse for a very long time, but it makes me worried. But there's been more pressing matters, and I haven't been able to walk around by myself for quite a while.
Well, we can certainly, check in on him and make sure everything is fine.
Yeah, just make sure he's okay.
Dead or alive, we could learn something.
What is his name?
His name is Gray Silverthorn.
Well, we'll definitely look for him. It seems like there are many questions and many answers in this crypt.
At that moment, the chamber door opens, and Lord Silverrose is standing pretty much like right next to you, because Gregory was waiting outside the door, and you guys just like stepped out.
Yeah.
So Lord Silverrose kind of steps out. Oh, Gregory, I owe you an apology, and if you all will excuse us for a few moments.
Of course.
Yeah, we'll let Gregory and Lord Silverrose talk.
Yeah. You hear idle chit chat as you kind of make your way out of the house proper, unless you all have something else you'd like to do while you're here.
I don't currently. I feel like Lord Silverrose will. I wish I kind of want to push him towards his daughter, but he's got a lot going on right now.
He's
So,
I
I don't
a lot of
want
people to talk to.
Yeah, I feel like
Maybe
she's
we
high
could
up on. Sorry, go ahead.
maybe we could go talk to her and be like, so hey, your dad's himself again. Give him a minute to work things out and then go give him a hug.
Yeah, we can at least allay her fears. Cause yeah, she's been kind of anxious and yeah, I guess we'll go see. What's her name? Clarissa?
Claire, Lady Claire.
Claire, Lady Claire.
Sure. You guys step into the foyer and up the set of stairs that kind of curves along one wall to the upper story. walking up, you eventually find the room where you had seen Claire come out of when you originally met her in the house proper.
I guess I'll softly knock on the door and say, Lady Claire?
A few moments pass, you can hear some movement in the room. Eventually, the door slowly creaks open just a crack, as you can see her familiar blue eyes glare at you, or blue eye glare at you through the crack in the door. Yes?
Is everything okay?
Yeah. Are you guys allowed to be here?
We are. We actually have some good news. Your father is himself again.
With that, the door opens slightly, and you can see her face, and it's just lit up. What?
There were some foul magics cast on him that stripped him of his memories and reason. But we've managed to undo it. And he's currently reassuming his duties as Lord Proper. But when you have time, you should make time to see him. And I know he'll be happy to see you.
So she opens the door. She opens the door and faces you. And you don't even have a moment to resist or to stop it. And she has her head buried in your chest and her arms around you.
I'll hug her back.
And she's just, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, there. Everything's going to be okay now.
Meclaresh,
Yes.
you gain an inspiration.
I don't know where to put that on my character sheet.
There's a little
Top
bubble
left.
up top, and you just click it, and it'll be a little dragon symbol.
There it is. Boop.
For anyone that does not know, when you gain an inspiration, you can re-roll the result of any dice. One time per inspiration.
That could be incredibly useful. And that doesn't go away at a long rest or anything. Correct?
Nope, never goes away until you use it. So save it forever and never use it like a potion.
Exactly.
I'll try to grind up a stock of 99.
Well, you can only have one.
Yeah. Unless we get another 96 people in the party.
After
Okay.
after a few moments, she'll eventually release you.
Okay.
And then she turns to Kaivu and Garish and thank you. Thank all of you so much.
I mean, yeah, no problem. Glad to help.
You have to be compassionate to get bonuses. Finger guns. And with that, she kind of like does like a half curtsy, half like nod towards you and runs down the stairs. You can hear Lord Silverrose's voice coming from further down the hallway where he was, and her voice, and it just sounds like kind of a joyous reunion for a moment.
And then the Fire Nation attacked.
And with that, I mean, Kaivu, Garish, like, you feel good about what you did here. And you didn't do it for profit. You didn't do it for gold or for treasure. You didn't do it for promises of riches. You did it for what you felt was right. And to follow the thread and see where it went. You two also gain an inspiration.
We didn't even have to get snotted on.
I was about to say. Well, at least I got snot.
You're the only one who really earned it.
Yeah. We got pity inspiration.
You were the bringer of the good news.
Well, I guess with that, we should leave them to their reconciliation. And uh, how are y'all feeling? Do you feel like we should take a rest before we go to the crypt, or where do you think we could go now? It's only a short trip out of town.
I would say since you all went to Torgrad in the morning, you were there for quite a while. You took a short rest, and then going around town. I'd say it's probably maybe early evening. Sun's starting to go down.
I mean,
Cemeteries at night, though.
I'm personally feeling, rather chipper and good. How are you feeling, Garish? Do you feel like you need a rest?
I think we should do this sooner rather than later.
Let's get spooky.
Okay, it's the Halloween episode. We're going to the cemetery at night.
I mean, it is Spooktober.
Okay,
Sure.
I guess we'll leave the Lord's Manor and head out of town to the cemetery.
Sure. You all head through town, and I'm trying to think if anything in town would have changed while you were there. I don't think so. It wouldn't have changed quite yet. So yeah, you guys exit through the Lord's Manor. You walk down the stone staircase that's carved into the side of the cliff, up the main road, and continue north. And after about 10 to 15-ish minutes of you guys walking, you start to worry. Maybe you've missed it. Maybe you've passed the sign. Maybe you missed the path somewhere. You guys can roll survival.
Haha!
Okay.
Ooh, garish. Back behind you, Garish, as you are kind of surveying the area, trying to figure out maybe if you'd missed the path, behind you, maybe about 100 to 150 yards, you notice that there is a fallen sign in the brush. And as you go over to it, you can see where the base had broken off as somebody had maybe knocked it, or maybe something had happened to it to knock it over. And then near where the broken signpost is a kind of overgrown path that leads toward the east.
Dang it! I didn't cast mending on it, but I want to.
Yeah,
I'd like to read the sign.
you have to pick it back up to put it back on the thing. On the side, it says the Briarton Cemetery.
Possibly foul play.
Perhaps.
It's a big, heavy wooden sign. It's like a big, maybe 6-inch around post. And the actual, you can see that it's been pushed or cracked and broken and splintered off. But if you want to try to put it, if you want to try to put it back together, I'm gonna need somebody to do an athletics check to lift it up and get it in the right position, so you can cast
I'll
mending.
do it. I was considering putting it in my inventory, but that'd be selfish.
Carrying the sign with you. Yeah, with a 14, you pick up the sign, and it's pretty heavy, even for somebody as strong as yourself. But eventually, after you get it in place, you watch as Meklaresh draws a sigil in the air, and then pushes her hand through the sigil, and the cracks and the misshapen, broken splinters of wood kind of peel and curl back into place, and the signpost is once in a singular position, pointing towards the road to the east.
Good job, everyone. We did our civic duty. We can go home. We fixed the sign.
Is that a milestone?
No, it's not a milestone. You guys are hungry for that level 3. I know.
My inspiration is crawling off.
I guess we will head over into the cemetery proper then.
I will lead the way.
I will follow.
You'll continue to follow the path through thick foliage and overgrown trees, and for every minute you walk, the sun gets lower and lower in the sky. until eventually above you is a cacophony of oranges and reds that kind of flood through and filter through the graying clouds that are slowly beginning to move in to the area. Eventually, you find yourselves outside of a gate. A large stone wall protrudes around this very wide open cemetery. Over the wall, you can see that there is a building off to your left as you're facing the front gate. About halfway in what appears to be the cemetery, but it kind of peeks over the wall so you can just see the top of it.
Oh, new map.
We're in the center.
Yeah, you guys are kind of, centered-ish.
Is it
It must be very dark if we can't see that far with our dark vision.
the ground is just white tiles for me? Is that?
Give it the map a minute to load in.
See,
Okay.
I can see textures.
So it's gotten darker, and the wall that's in front of you is that is a solid stone wall. This here, which is why you can't see past it. The only reason you can see past it right now is because I wanted you guys to see that there was a wall.
Yeah.
And off to your left and the right is like thick bushes and like tree canopy, and where the woods have kind of overtaken this portion of the path. So there is more off to the left and right. You just would have to push past dense foliage to get to it. But ahead of you is a large stone gate.
See, the gate looks intact. It's not like it was damaged or rammed open at any point.
Doesn't appear to be damaged as you just glancing over it. You can make an investigation check.
Just that sign, the sign was all smashed up.
As you begin to pore over this stone gate, there's a metal locking mechanism that connects the two sides together. And as you kind of look into the mechanism, you can actually see there's some loose pieces inside. Like you kind of push on the gate a little bit, and you can hear the rattling from the inside.
I think someone smashed this gate open. At least at some point. This locking mechanism is not in the best of shape anymore. And I'll try and just push one side open.
Pushes without much resistance. And reveals a
White
little
tiles.
of a path forward.
You might want to reload.
Yeah, you might want to reload your game. You can see headstones and a path that moves over from just from glancing in one side of the gate, kind of looking around the interior. You see numerous headstones. You can see what appears to be a small stone structure off to the left. Not very large, whatever it is. But you can't quite see the front of the large building that you noticed as you were approaching.
Let's
Who
go
wants-
look at that building.
I say, who wants to step inside?
Me.
Garish is being very cautious.
Well, he's trying to get the map to load.
It's
He's
loaded.
the one who's invisible.
Give me 1 second. I have a lot to reveal because you guys moved.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the fog of war before moving.
Kaifu, don't walk on people's graves. It's disrespectful.
I'm trying to be on the path.
Oh, okay.
There's a little footpathy thing
Oh,
going on.
yeah. I see it.
It's really hard to use, so I don't actually want to use the interior of this building. So I'm just trying to show you that there is in fact a building here.
I'm gonna look at the gravestones and see if there are any puns.
Let me
Yeah,
just
we're
look up
Looking for
gravestone
some
generator.
celebrity names. No.
Stop moving your characters. I see you moving them. You haven't even gotten the description yet. I have a lot to reveal here. You guys have dark vision, and it's not pitch black outside. You make your way into the very dimly lit graveyard now that the sky is kind of beginning to slowly dull into a deep blue. You peer around. There are several worn gravestones that are kind of haphazardly laying across the path. Several large stone sarcophagi, or even larger headstones in other areas. Different grave sites. The graves themselves are not well marked. You can clearly see where the ground has been disturbed and relayed and disturbed and relayed in different areas. But you do notice, if you'll give me, who has the highest passive perception?
I believe it's Kaivu.
Let me just check. I also think it is Kaivu. With a
It's
14.
been Kaivu every other session.
I mean, she can roll too, that's good. So Kaivu, you notice that one of the graves here, and I will draw it on the map on my little red marker here, looks like the earth in front of the grave has been disturbed. You can see that the dirt has been pulled up and outward. And you can see several piles of dirt kind of surrounding this grave site. It is also very, very quiet here. The only things you can really hear are kind of the wind slowly rushing through the trees, and the occasional sound of animals in the distance, but it's very quiet other than those things.
Can I tell what kind of implements, like if it was dug up by an animal or a shovel?
Sure, go ahead and make a investigation check. Looking at it, whatever tool or object was used here, it was small. It was not like a large shovel, but that's about all the information you can kind of gather by just kind of looking over it. But it does look like it goes down quite far, the disturbance in the earth, but it looks like the dirt was pushed back over, some of the dirt was pushed back over into the grave afterwards, but it looks recent.
Okay.
As well, to the north of you is a large statue of Priscilla, which is kind of a humanoid elven. It's a human with very elven features, where it's very chiseled and very sharp with her features, wearing a hood with her arms clasped down, buried in front of her. Yeah, right there, where you guys are picking.
Can I see if there's anything written on the gravestone that was disturbed?
Sure. Go ahead. Yeah, it says Kevin Richards.
Serious.
And because we don't have a year in the game, we're just going to say
20XX.
Let me think. So it's PA, and we'll do 498 to 526.
Oof.
You guys can make a history check to know what PA stands for.
Post-apocalypse.
Party all night.
That would kill you.
Kaivu knows. Mekleresh does not.
Garish doesn't care.
It stands for post-ascension. It is the year that it is said that the world went from a dark age to a golden age. It was when the new gods took over.
Ominous.
What's the current year?
It is 576. Sorry,
Sure.
it's 546. PA. As you are looking up at the statue of Priscilla, her robed arms kind of clasped together, almost in a warm embrace as it looks. You can see tears kind of drawn into the statue to mourn the lost and the dead. And as you are standing there, kind of waiting and looking up as the others are looking around the graveyard at the different names and the different tombstones, Garish, you find one called, it says Thomas Dumpty, and then in the engraving it said, couldn't stand a great fall.
So tragic.
I know you were looking for something along those lines, so you found that. But Kaivu, as you are looking up at the statue itself, suddenly, from behind the statue, something in the dark lunges at you. Roll initiative.
All of us.
Yeah, everybody.
No, just Kaivu. We're gonna run.
Thanks.
Again without... Oh, okay.
Okay. So Garish, you are top of initiative. I believe you cannot be surprised.
Correct.
And I don't think you can roll better than... Okay, you did roll with advantage, so... Kaivu. You have 7. Rick with a 4. And our baddie with a... I rolled a 14. Let me pull this up on my phone. It rolled really good on that stealth check to hide from you all.
I saw that. I saw the roll, and I was just like, well, that's a 20.
Okay.
There's
So,
nothing gonna
Garish, you are not surprised, and you have top of initiative. You can see there's some sort of creature leaning out from behind the statue, getting ready to lunge at Meklaresh.
Kaivu.
Sorry, at Kaivu.
Say, I am way far back for it to be lunging at me.
All you can see is kind of its shadowy form getting ready to strike. It appears vaguely humanoid.
Let's see. So it's still mostly obscured, right?
Yeah. If you were to fire a ranged attack at it, it would be considered half cover. Which just gives it a bonus to armor class. Concerned sounds.
I think I'm just gonna dash headlong right up to it.
Sure. You do get to see the horrifying visage of this creature with pale, pallid, rotting skin, jagged fangs for teeth that drip with an almost black ichor that leak off onto its chest that kind of have soaked it in this kind of black, foul ichor. It smells horrible, whatever this creature is. And on its turn, so because you have imposed yourself here, it is not going to strike out at Kaivu. Instead, it is going to... Let's see, what would it do? So it's going to make a claw attack against you. I believe it only gets 1 attack.
My armor class is 15. Ouch.
Okay. So... Holy shit. I'm sorry. Take 10 points of slashing damage. And then make a Constitution saving throw. Okay.
Right.
You are paralyzed. At the end of the turn, on each one of your turns, you can retry the saving throw. Yeah, at the end of your turn. But you are considered paralyzed, which means you cannot take actions, your speed is 0, and any melee attacks against you are automatic critical hits. However, that does end its turn. And we are now to Kaivu's turn. Kaivu,
Can-
you are surprised.
Okay.
Meklaresh, you are surprised. Garish, it is your action. As you are paralyzed, you can only save. You are still paralyzed. And it is its turn. And since it is...
Can I action search to try the save again?
Sure, I'd allow that. Yeah. I don't think you're supposed to be able to do that, but okay. So this is what we'll say happens. So you've used your action now to break free from this paralyzing hold. You pull in, and the adrenaline rushing through you breaks whatever hold or venom or bile this creature has in its claws, and is broken, causes you to break free of its hold. All right, but that is your turn, is breaking free.
Okay.
On its turn, it's going to try to bite you, because it had just paralyzed you. I feel like that would be a reasonable assumption. I don't believe that an 8 will hit your armor class.
Nope.
So
God.
as you break free, it lunges at you, and tries to bite at your throat, but you just kind of stiff arm it and shove it off of yourself. I'm actually going to have it slide here. And that'll bring us to Kaivu. It is your action.
Okay, I am going to cast Thunder Wave. Do I cast that at level 1 or 2?
Okay, so Thunder Wave is a cube, I
So
believe.
Garish
Oh,
is in
yeah,
the
maybe
cube.
not.
Garish is in the
Yeah,
cube.
let's not actually. Let's go a little more.
If you step forward, you can catch only it in your cube. Because I believe it is a 15-foot cube.
Forward to.
This tile here.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, and then
I
you
don't
can
want to shock.
yeah, you can aim the cube diagonally or straight back. It's up to you.
Okay.
Yeah, you can second wind as well, Garish. I'll let you do that.
Okay, that leads me back to my question: level 1 or level 2?
That's up to you. It'll expend whichever spell slot, and if you cast it at level 2, it'll be stronger. It'll do more damage.
Level 2 it is. We're gonna go straight back.
Straight back. Holy shit. Okay. So your save is a 12. Well, I'm going to say that, yeah, I don't think a 3 is good enough. So you slam it back into the wall. I believe it pushes it 10 feet. So it actually cracks the stones of the wall. And yeah, it's going to take, 16 points of damage. As it howls with this unearthly howl that kind of spreads through the night air in horrible amounts of pain. But its eyes, its two small pinprick, blue glowing eyes immediately snap and are facing directly at you.
Hi.
Meklaresh, it's your turn. Unless, Kaivu, you have anything else you'd like to do with your turn?
As a bonus action, I am going to cast my Shillelagh. Can I cast Shillelagh as a bonus action?
As long
I'm
as
gonna
it's a
cast
cantrip, yeah.
Shillelagh.
Yeah, so now you
Just,
infuse your staff with the that soft green glow that wisps up the staff like a snake and disappears, and your staff has now been empowered. Meklaresh.
Let's say we're level 3, right?
2.
We're level 2, so I don't have any second level spell slots yet. Just making sure.
But how did
So-
Kaivu have a second level spell slot? You don't have any second level spell slots. Why did it let you cast it at level 2? That's really strange. I will have to look into that later.
It might
I
just be
did ask.
Yeah, I know you did ask. That's really strange. I'm gonna mark that. So 10 damage is really good, so we'll just say 10. It's still very mad at you. You still did a lot of damage.
Okay, I'm going to come up to here, and we're gonna cast magic missile at it. And I know it's broken that I need to cast it like
Yeah, 3 times.
Yeah. It's rolling. I see it rolling the dice 2 times though.
Yeah,
It's
because that's
weird.
the. Jesus Christ, you guys do so much damage. You rear back and unleash these wave of missiles that spreads forth and splits into 3 and surrounds the creature and just perforates it full of holes. It is now currently spilling out this black ichor on the ground and is inhaling, and with each inhale of breath you can see black sludge kind of pooling out of its mouth. It's still up,
Ew.
but barely.
Yeah. I guess I'm going to just I think I have 5 movement left. I'm just gonna step back a little bit more.
All right, Garish, it is your action.
I'm gonna throw a javelin.
Sure. Do you have-
D6. It's slash.
You have to roll to hit though.
Oh, right. My bad.
Yeah, unfortunately, you throw the javelin, but the kind of pain that's kind of still pumping in you from the claw that slashed into you kind of causes you to err, and you smash it into the stone wall next to it.
So I can still move and use a bonus action, right?
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna second wind.
Sure. Do 1d10 plus 2.
It doesn't like it when I do the +2.
Are you putting spaces or no spaces?
No. I'll try. And nothing's working.
Hmm.
You can just type slash roll 1d10 and just add the 2 after. Yeah, so get back 5 hit points, mere second wind.
And does it look like it's still focused on Kaivu?
Yes. Although it's not 2 plus with Meklaresh either, but Kaivu was also closer.
Sorry, Kaivu.
I'm going to move right here then.
Okay.
That's my turn.
And with its action, just double checking some stuff. It's gonna rush forward and try to claw at Kaivu. And you just barely managed to keep it off of you by slamming your staff into the ground and pushing this creature away from you as it tries frantically to scratch at you with its claws. And it's your action, Kaivu.
I'm gonna hit it with a stick.
And how would you like to do this? Why do you all do so much damage?
I would like to make a flying leap using the plinth or dais or whatever you'd like to call the statue of Priscilla's base. I'm going to launch off of that with my left foot, swing my shillelagh over my head, and say, "Eat stick, motherfucker."
And you bash the stick down, and there's a sickening crack as you smash its skull, and it causes this black viscera to just spray into the air as the creature just slumps to the ground, lifeless, or more lifeless than it was previously.
I'm going to throw up. Just bend over and hurl a little bit.
I'm thankfully far enough back that I will just, yeah.
Is combat over?
Yes, combat is over.
Okay.
I think we should go to town.
Yeah.
Garish, do you need a healing potion? I have healing potions if you need them.
You know
I
what?
have
I'll take one.
healing. Wow.
Right.
It's a regular healing potion.
Yes.
How many HP are you down?
You can get back 8 hit points from the potion.
I am at 15 out of 21 now.
I can healing word you.
Say, I have another potion too. If you want to save the spell slot.
She's only casted 1 spell today.
Well, didn't
And it's already nighttime, so I assume after this we're going home and getting some sleeps.
well we didn't check out the crypt yet.
True. I do kind of rely on stick hitting more than spells, though.
That's fair.
And I can turn into a giant spider.
Maybe
I
I'll
mean-
take a healing word and we can try to do a little bit of investigating.
Okay. I'm going to cast this at level 1 this time.
Yeah, 6 points.
Dang straight.
It's pretty good for a healing word.
Now I'm at full.
Yay.
Not 2,115. That's not correct.
It's a little high.
Overheal. What direction is that large building?
It's the building that's off to your left there.
Okay, this one right here.
It looks to go up about maybe 6 or 7 more feet than the fence itself.
Yeah, and that's what we assume is the familial crypt.
It's one of those moments where you look at it, it really does look like a crypt. Just a
right, I'm
large
gonna-
stone building, bricks.
Yeah, well, since it's very dark and we just fought a big thing, I'm gonna take one of my special light rocks out. We're gonna use that before we open the door.
Ahead of you
Side
is
is up.
a metal barred door. You can see there's metal bars, and on the interior, ahead of you, it looks like there's a staircase that heads downwards. And on the left and right sides, you can see alcoves where there are large stone caskets there on the sides.
I am not doing any more heroic dives from here on out.
Smart. I
I'm
guess
gonna
I'll try and open
I'll
the
back
door.
up. Back up while you interact.
Garish is a little timid today. I'm gonna try and open the
Understandably.
door.
Yeah. It opens with no resistance whatsoever. You actually take it and you push, and I take that back. There's a little bit of resistance, and when you finally push, the hinge on the opposite side of where the door opens kind of pops off the top, and it kind of like falls downward. But you can push it open without making too much noise by kind of lifting the door and kind of scooting it. Like the bottom hinge is still attached, but the top hinge is broken.
Man, the groundskeepers really let this place go.
I mean, that gold thing probably ate him.
Or was him.
Ooh.
Yeah. I kind of assume it was our poor friend Kevin Richards, but
Can I retrieve my javelin?
Yeah, you can retrieve your javelin. It didn't break.
I mean, do you want to risk walking past poor Kevin? Well, I'll wait for Garish to retrieve his javelin, and then I'm just gonna just very carefully walk into the crypt and sort of hold the rock up and look around. I don't know if we're changing maps or not.
There's almost an echo when you step into the main chamber that has the staircase leading downwards. You can see engravings on the sides of the walls on each one of the 4 caskets that are up top. There's small bits of stone that are laid around the staircase, maybe about 2 or 3 feet up, almost like a little barrier around the sides, but not around the front, just around the sides. But it seems fairly plain. There's nothing else that catches your eye as you examine some of the plaques. It's various people with the Silver Rose name.
Nothing looks disturbed. Like it all looks like it's been left. Everything's been left to rest currently in this area.
Make a investigation check. As you kind of prod and poke and look around, even with the light that's being shed from the rock that you're holding and examining some of these tombs, if someone did go through these and disturb them, they look like they might have put them back. But it's hard to tell what might have been disturbed and what wasn't disturbed. Since the building, as you kind of look around and you notice, since the door is made of these metal bars, the wind does push through here. So what few remnants of dust won't betray anyone who has trespassed through here.
I'll look to the stairs and just sort of, gesture to the party. Think we should go down, guys. I mean, it doesn't seem like there's anything out of place up here.
Can I ready an
Let's
attack
do
of
it.
opportunity out of combat?
Just walking around with your
What
Right
is
your
here.
weapon.
At
what
the ready.
what is your ready to action? If an enemy
Strike with
appears,
rapier. Yes.
yeah, you can do that. You can just be on guard and be ready to strike out at anything that might pop out of the darkness at you.
I'm not going to investigate anything. Just
I got it. As you glance down the stairwell, you notice that there appears to be a large wooden board of some kind at the very base that is laying on the ground kind of at an odd angle.
Can I pick the board up and flip it over to see if there's a sign or anything written on it, or
If you head down the stairs.
I am going to head down the stairs.
Yes, stairs.
You slowly creep and walk and make your way down these eerily silent stairs.
I'm leading.
You notice that the shattered board appears to be a wooden door that is knocked inward from the outside in, and you step past that into a rather smooth stoned chamber. The stones themselves seem to be made out of a different kind of stone than the gray stones from up above. It almost radiates with almost a green reflection. Flecks of green sparkles kind of shimmer through the stones as you kind of hold your light aloft.
Is the door in front of me currently closed?
No, it's open.
Or is that... Okay, yeah, I'll step through.
Yeah, as you step through, you step into a room and you see several empty alcoves in the room. Fragments of broken stone and hewed earth lay ahead of you, and at the other end of the room is a door that is slightly ajar.
I'm gonna keep silent and just sort of make a two-fingered motion over my shoulder, let's go. And I'll approach the door.
Make 100 dexterity saves. No. You approach the door again as the further and further down you go and deeper you go within the crypt, the quieter and quieter it becomes. No longer can you hear the animals from the outside. No longer does the wind blow through the trees. There's only your breath and heartbeat that kind of thump through these hollowed halls.
I guess I'm going to open this door and just sort of poke my rock of light with my arm with my head around the corner.
As you peer into the room, there is a large stone dais with a large stone coffin laying on the top of it. A casket, as well as a silvery plaque underneath it that's kind of been bolted into the stones. Also, as you kind of step into the room, there's almost that reference of space where when you step in, you can feel the enormity of the space that you've walked into. The ceiling itself is vaulted and quite high.
I think we've gotten an important dead guy in here. The non-moving kind of dead guy.
we assume.
I'm going to approach the dais and attempt to read the plaque from a little further away.
It says, Lord Alexander Silverrose, may he rest in peace. A good man who did not deserve his untimely end.
Uh-oh. What was What was so untimely about it?
Uh, can I see if his, tomb has been disturbed, if anyone tried to pry it open or anything?
Make an investigation check.
Oof.
Walking around, you can see clearly the stone lid that holds this shut, but it's hard for you to tell whether or not that anyone else has been down here. There's almost like an uneasiness to your investigation as you pry through this area and look around. Each time you tap the stone, there's the echo of sound around you. Each footstep you make is responded to you in kind in echoes.
Um, just a point of order. This over here, is this also stone wall?
Yeah, that is the same stone wall. Ignore the
Okay,
fact that it is different. It is because this is not. There is more map that I didn't want to use.
gotcha.
What about this? Is this like one of these alcoves or is it a door?
Yeah, there are two doors, both on the north and the south side of the map.
I was hoping there were no doors. Uh,
I'm gonna come over here so I can like kind of peek through the door on this side a little bit.
They are open slightly. As you peek through the door, you can kind of see another smaller area for a smaller burial area with another stone casket on it.
I'm gonna look back over my shoulder and say, "Hey guys, another dead person."
I'm gonna come over with my light source.
Woohoo! Come on through. We appreciate you and your glowy rocks.
You push the door open, or are you just looking through the crack?
I'm gonna push it open. I'm fearless. Ain't no squishy ghoulies bother me.
As you peer into the area, there's another one of those silver bolted-on plaques.
I'm gonna read this one too.
This one says, Saphira Silverthorn, mother of Claire, loved by the people. Never has there been a better leader.
That's Mother of Claire.
Mm-hmm.
So I see we're going off Disney parenting rules.
I'm going to make another investigation check to see if this one's been disturbed.
As you plot and pry around the stones, you notice small broken fragments at the base of the stone that seem to be from the lid. Maybe broken fragments for when it was moved or put back in place.
I think someone desecrated Claire's mom. I'm also, the gravekeeper's last name was Silverthorn,
Yeah.
and Claire's mother's name was Silverthorn. So that's a connection I'm just going to announce and make a note of.
Sorry, no, it was Silver Rose. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Her mother's name was Silver
Saphira's-
Rose. That was probably
Okay.
a slip of my tongue.
Gotcha. Dang, it's not as complex as I thought.
Sorry, no.
Okay, should we make sure she's still there?
Yeah.
Okay, since Garish is being scaredy, a little scarish, I'm gonna try and lift this lid.
Can make a athletics check.
This is your time.
Rawr!
I don't know how the wizard managed to do this.
Yes! So strong.
You plant your feet on the floor, and using the entirety of your upper body, there's a moment where you feel like your body's about to give out, where you can feel all of your muscles tensed and pushing, and it's not moving, and you're pushing, and eventually you slowly hear the sound of stone grinding on it, and you do not get it open very much. You get enough to where you can see inside the sarcophagus itself.
Is she in there?
And inside is a humanoid figure wrapped in what appears to be silk cloth, purple silk cloth, um, with a heavy layer of dust on it.
Okay, that's good. That's what I was hoping to see. I'm gonna try and put it back.
Make another athletic check with advantage because if you're pushing from the wall side, you have a brace to push against.
Yeah, I would definitely try that.
It takes some time, but eventually you do manage to close the tomb up.
I just imagine they're watching me do this, and I'm just like, ah, come on, go back.
Honestly,
Right.
at this point, Kai was just impressed.
I'm very sweaty and dusty. I want to go check out the next room.
Okay.
This door is not open. It is closed. You can see on the floor in front of the door are a set of chains. And you can see along the sides of where the door was were interlocking rings, where it looks like these chains once were kind of looped through and across.
Yay!
But the chains are not in place. Only the door is ahead of you. The chains are laying uselessly on the floor. Long, rusted chains.
Guess I opened the door.
You push the door open, revealing another area. Somewhat like the last, except this coffin's lid is open.
Oh no.
There are several chains that are along the floor. The coffin itself is not made of the same material as the previous ones. This coffin is made of a white stone. And you can see flecked throughout the stone are silvery lines that kind of cross and crest and almost a organic kind of growing vine. It looks like growing vines made out of silver that have kind of engulfed the coffin. The lid is haphazardly pushed and knocked against the wall, but you can't see the interior of it unless you step up close.
I'm gonna step up close.
Me too. Boop.
As you go to step into the room, I would like you to give me perception checks before you get to where you are.
Oops. Uh,
So,
Crystal speed.
Kaivu does not notice,
What?
but Meklaresh, being trained in the usage of magic, I'm going to move you back to where you would be when you noticed it.
Yep, that's fair.
Meklaresh, who was trained in the use of magic, notices on the floor of the stairs that lead up to the dais, there is a small, almost indistinguishable rune drawn in on the ground.
Do I know if it's an active magic rune or if it's a?
You can make an Arcana check before Kaivu walks up to it.
I most certainly would like to.
It looks like a glyph of wording. Whatever spell is inside the rune, you do not know, but you know that if someone walks within 5 feet of that rune, it will go off.
I'm gonna motion. I'm gonna be like, Kaibu, stop! Wait. There
I'm
is
gonna
a
stop.
there is a possible trap right there on the stairs. We should keep our distance and maybe approach from the sides if at all possible.
Okay.
What
I'm
if we
going-
stepped out of the room and rolled a ball bearing in?
Ooh, I like that idea.
Meklaresh, you would
That's
know
really good.
when it comes to glyphs of warding, they generally have triggers, and you know that you would have to be within a certain proximity of it for it to trigger, and you do not know what its trigger is or what would cause it to go off. But you know that if you step within 5 feet of it, there's a good chance that your proximity will set it off.
Yeah,
But what
and
the
it's-
actual trigger is, you don't know. It could be anything. So whatever the mage who placed it has decided would be the trigger.
So I would know that a ball bearing wouldn't set it off. It's
It might.
typically aligned to a person.
It
Okay, yeah.
might.
Let's step out and roll a ball bearing and see. I feel like we could not set it off by, you know, sneaking up the side and looking up over here, but We're rolling the ball.
I'm gonna go for the smallest turkey ever.
You take the ball bearing and holding it in your hand, you kind of look and are directed to this very faint glyph that you only notice because Mekleresh pointed it out. You take the ball bearing and you take it and you flick it into the room. And it tumbles, strikes the ground, tumbles, strikes the ground, tumbles, hits right where the glyph is, tumbles, and then rolls and falls to a stop.
Okay, back to plan A.
10-foot pole chain.
I was just gonna walk around it so we don't set it off. Alright, so I'm gonna try and look into the sarcophagus from here.
Make a perception check as you kind of hold the light up above your head and stand on your tippy toes to look into the.
I'm tall.
They're old blackened bones inside, but there's that all you can make out is a hand that seems to have its hand gripping the side of the coffin made of these blackened bones. Everything else is too deep within for you to notice.
We've got some blackened bones that look like they were trying to climb out of the coffin. And that's all I know. If anyone else wants to sneak up on the other side and take a look, I would very much appreciate it.
I'm on it.
On that side, Kaivu, you notice there is a plaque. Not made of silver or any type of metal, but made of stone that's been engraved in the side of the headstone there.
Okay.
Trying to read the weathered words on the stone. Whatever was etched here is ancient and long forgotten. The only words that you can make out are nameless one, to be forgotten, and never forgiven. The rest of the words on the plaque are illegible to you.
I'm going to read the bits that I can read aloud and kind of scooch back up against the wall a little bit further.
Well,
That
that's
seems kind of
ominous.
harsh. I forgive them.
What's that going to do?
I kind of want to know more about what's inside. I'm gonna
Kaivu, you
step.
cannot see into the box. It is too high.
Yeah, I'm gonna step up
gonna
onto
step-
the dais and try and look inside a little better.
Give me 1 second.
Oh no, I'm within 5 feet. Oops.
Well,
I need to look up a spell.
I should have cast jump on myself, but I'm prepared.
Make a wisdom saving throw, Mekleresh and Kaivu. For a moment, in front of you is a horrifying figure that rises from the coffin. This black, immaculate shape that then lunges for you, trying to grab at your throat. And just as it does so, you blink and it's gone. You manage to resist whatever spell was charged in the room. You both saw that individually.
Sorry about that, Kaivu.
bruh.
Just because I'm smart doesn't mean I always think. Yeah, I'm gonna look inside the coffin more.
Inside the coffin is a skeletal figure with bits of ancient, decrepit cloth that are lining the bottom. You notice that these bones have been greatly disturbed. The center of the chest where it appears as though you can see where the arm had bent and hold one hand over the chest. That arm has been broken off and kind of tossed aside. The skull of whatever this being was has been crushed inward. The hand that hangs on the side is actually broken off from the rest of it. Whatever was here is now gone.
Would I believe this is probably where the Dagger of Spite was being kept?
It's a good question.
I mean, I feel like that's the most reasonable explanation.
This does have a lot of spite type feelings.
Garish, give me a
Yeah.
perception check. You're not looking in the tomb. You're looking outward for outside threats, wary of more things that might be striking outward at your party. You begin to notice in the alcoves of the room are holes, tiny little holes, maybe 2 inches across. And you swear for a moment you see over here something dark and shadowy slide into one of those holes. Kind of almost like a black amorphous mass kind of slowly rode the wall, and you only noticed it when it kind of shrank down and pushed itself through one of those tiny holes.
Is this where Garish lets out a panic scream?
I'm going to not abandon people. I'm going to go to the exit to see if anything happens.
I'm not abandoning you. I'm just not telling you I'm leaving and going to the exit.
And the kind of shadowy shades of you walking around and looking, the light from Meklaresh far in a distant room. Now that you've seen one hole, you notice all of these alcoves have 3 of these holes each. One toward the floor, one toward the ceiling, and one in the center of the alcove. You don't see movement for now as you kind
Alright, I'll move back.
look around.
Well, I think we're done investigating these bones. Unless Kaivu, you can think of, like, you want to make another check to see if you see anything.
I kind of want to do maybe like an Arcana or a History check, because especially the silver in the sarcophagus has me interested.
Sure, go ahead and roll an Arcana check if you're interested in trying to glean more information about the kind of growing silver. You know that silver tends to be used to kind of ward against evil, or contain it.
Okay.
As well, kind of looking through it, you can see there's very vibrant silvered lines that have, like I said, kind of spider webbed, almost as thickly they have been grown into the stone. But there's also a darker metal that is looped and kind of intertwined in that. And you didn't notice it when you first looked at the coffin because you were so kind of enamored with the silver. But kind of as you look through it, you realize there's also a deeper, darker metal kind of in it as well.
Is that lead?
You would, if you, as you look at it, you think it could be. It certainly could be lead.
Well, based on what we know, I think we should put the lid back on these bones.
Okay.
Now, this lid is on the ground. It is not kind of askew. It has been knocked off entirely.
Good luck with that.
Gonna be a 2-person lift.
Alright, let's do it.
Alright, I got my sweat on.
All right, one of you can roll with advantage, or you can both independently roll.
I will help Kaivu, so you can roll with
Okay.
advantage.
Oh, with advantage. Hold on, sorry.
Just roll one more.
You guys managed to move the lid from the wall to the coffin, kind of sliding it on along the ground, but it is way too heavy for you to be able to actually lift up and put on top.
Garish, help! Heavy.
Nah, I'll stay here.
Oh, nah.
But
Uh,
please,
If you say please, okay.
thank you.
thank you.
I'm gonna back into the room slowly.
We still don't know why you're being so paranoid.
Make
We're
another
told-
perception check as you are examining the surroundings outside the room.
Dang it!
Nothing else catches your attention, just darkness. And it's almost jostling anytime Meklarsh moves the stone with the light spell on it, because all the light shifts for a moment, and it really throws off your vision, trying to keep track of anything that might be in there.
I do have the glowing saber, but I also rolled a 2.
Alright, let's put this lid back on.
Should I roll athletics with advantage?
Yes, please. Using the other two to help support you, and eventually you kind of push Mech out of the way, and you're like, look, you're not helping much.
Oh.
You do eventually get the coffin lid to sit back on the top of the coffin proper, and when you finally align it and get it in the proper place, there is a kind of cracking sound. And as you look and watch, the coffin lid actually mends to the base and creates one solid piece of stone.
Well, I feel better about that now. Now that the super evil bone skeleton is sealed in its anti-magic tomb, hopefully.
There is
Yep.
after it's been sealed and you guys have that small exchange, there's almost a lightness in the air now, to where before it was very oppressive and very like paranoia was pushing down on you. You feel a lightness in the air.
Well, if there's nothing else, I think we should leave. I don't think we can glean any more info unless we wanted to. No, I feel like Lord Alexander's there. Yeah, I'm going to grab my light rock and walk back out into the main room.
Seems just like you left it.
You coming, Kaivu?
Yep. Just, whew.
I just imagine Garish just doing like tactical walks and turns the whole time, like freaking out the whole time, and we're just like walking out like it's normal.
I mean,
You guys make your way out of the crypt back into the graveyard proper. The night sky fully exposed above you. The half moon of one of the two shines its light down upon you. Stars fill the sky above you.
Well, that was a fun adventure. We learned very little, and Garish took a big old beating. I think it's time for bed.
bed sounds good.
Back to the inn.
Mm-hmm.
Unless Garish wants to hang out here.
Nah,
No, I'm
if you
good.
insist. Well, I don't.
You all make your way back into town proper. You can see the torchlight. People still meandering about, fewer than during the day. You eventually make your way back to the Velvet Mouse. You step inside, and there's a lightness to the atmosphere. Things aren't as doomy and gloomy as they were before. There's a couple of dwarves sitting at tables, some humans enjoying a meal. That same drunk guy in the corner sleeping at the table.
I want to get myself a glass of wine.
You order your drink, and the serving girl comes over, takes your orders. One ales, drinks, food, whatever
Just
you
a
might want.
wine. Just a wine for me. How much is that again?
Oh, the first drink's on the house. Everything after that is you'd have to pay for.
I
I'll have a
have
ghoul stout.
Works for me.
cool stout.
Uh, we have some some mushroom mead, if that be more your speed.
No.
just
Whiskey, please.
Most
just
people
wine is fine.
most people don't go for the. It's more of a dwarven thing. Some wine, whiskey, and for you, sir,
I'll just have water.
water. Water sounds fine. All right, I'll be back.
Always the rebel.
Will you all be eating dinner tonight? And we'll be having chicken.
Yeah.
Yes.
She disappears in the back, and after a few minutes of you guys kind of breathing, reliving the moments from the very long day that you've had, she eventually returns, drops off your drinks and your meals, just some chicken grilled over a fire with some sliced potatoes, cooked fork tender. Anything else you guys would like to do tonight?
I can't think of anything that I want to do except for maybe taking some of the merriment of the inn currently, since it's been kind of oppressive and things are getting better.
Any half orcs in here besides Garish?
Not tonight, there are not. Just appears to be humans and dwarves.
Okay.
Anyone else?
No, I feel like I'm just going to enjoy my meal and sip my wine.
People eventually begin to file out. People going home, people going upstairs to their rooms. And the night slowly winds down. I assume you all are gonna hit the hay, get some sleep, take a long rest.
Yeah.
I'm gonna study the crystal bottle when I'm in my room.
Sure. What exactly are you doing with it?
I'm just turning it around in my hands, looking at it.
Can make a Arcana check. You
Wow.
turn the small crystal bottle. It shines with almost a more. It's almost like it's more light than you put in, as the light from the small candle on your table kind of flickers in the room. You turn it over, and the grains of sand begin to kind of spin slowly in it. And eventually, you get the idea to you pop the top off, and you pour a few grains in your hand, and you kind of feel them, and they're very coarse and rough. And as you run them through your fingers, your hand disappears.
Ooh.
And then, as you kind of flick it, because it takes you by surprise, you kind of flick it and you kind of smack it against the table to make sure it's still there. And it is. And as you kind of smack the table with your hand reappears. Give me 1 second. Oh, that's... Nope. Here you go. Your...
I see it.
There you go. That is... I have updated your item card. Rolled pretty high. Pretty high for somebody who's not trained in Arcana.
So it's an AoE invisibility.
Yep. It's usable, I believe, one time.
Mhm.
Yep. Although after you use it, you still have a pretty neat looking bottle.
Yep.
Not if he smashes it on the ground like a proper orc.
The night comes, and over time, you all doing separate things in your own rooms and kind of browsing around, the day slowly comes to an end. You all benefit from a long rest. I am actually going to be wrapping it up here in just a minute. Kaivu, don't worry.
Okay. Thanks.
Or before we started the game, it's going to be a little bit of a shorter session today. Eventually, the morning greets you, and you all head downstairs, sit down for breakfast, eager to see what the day has in store for you, and you hear a bit of a commotion going on outside. Sounds like people have gathered in the streets. You hear murmurs and talking. Some people laughing, perhaps. You also hear the
Merriman?
distinct clopping of hooves on the cobblestones.
I'll definitely peer outside to see what's the matter.
You kind of poke your head out the door, and you notice there's a carriage, a covered carriage outside. It appears to be made out of, it is greens, and the wood has been stained with a deep brown as it kind of spirals upward in an almost elegant, almost elven fashion. And outside the carriage, Gregory and Lord Silverrose are standing, talking to amongst themselves. And Gregory catches your eye, and he waves and he beckons you come over.
Well, I'll beckon to my companions to come over.
Okay.
You all step outside and see this carriage, and in the front is a beautiful white horse, with small brown spots along its belly and legs. That's pulling this carriage. And Lord Silverrose addresses you. I didn't truly thank you for what you did for me and for this town, and I'm sure your work here will soon be done, and you will be moving on, as adventurers tend to do. I figured the least I could do would be to, well, give you a ride out of here. This is yours. This is my thanks for doing all you've done for me and for my people.
But what about her gold?
As well as some monetary rewards are inside for your preview.
Oh, you're the best.
After what you've
We
done for
thank
me,
you.
I don't think I have the riches to pay you what I truly feel you deserve.
Well,
Could
you
I
take
maybe
care of
also
yourself.
pet the horse?
Well, it's your horse, so I imagine you could certainly pet it.
Can we name it?
Absolutely.
Is it a boy horse or a girl horse?
It is a girl horse.
What do you guys think?
Buttercup.
That is an excellent name.
I love it.
You notice in the mane there are small blue ribbons that have been tied, just like 3 or 4.
I'm so happy.
Well, you all are free to stay as long as you'd like, of course. You can stay up at my manor if you wish, of course. If the Velvet Mouse is more your speed, it is quite a cozy place to stay. But I think me and Gregory have some work to do with some of the townspeople. The trouble in the mines has been taken care of, and don't worry, your payment for that is again included. But obviously there's a lot of administrative things to do and a lot of people to apologize to. So I hope you all won't mind if I take my leave.
Of course, you're a very busy man. We thank you for your generosity.
I thank you all for just being here and being really the people we needed. Or we're lucky.
I'm gonna offer a handshake.
He'll take your hand. And he shakes it. He's got one of those, like, very, like, diplomatic grips to it.
I will do my best to mirror it.
You all are welcome in Briarton anytime. And if there's anything you ever need in the future, feel free to ask. I'm a man with connections, but even my connections aren't, well, excruciating. But we can say I owe you a favor. You can call it when you need.
Thank you, Lord Silverrose.
I believe it is I who should be thanking you.
I just kind of figured Kaivu should maybe have manners for once in her godforsaken life.
You are a sailor. I mean, this is
Yeah.
the most
Yeah.
manners we expect.
And then she goes back to petting Buttercup.
Of course, all stories have moments of downtime and respite. And now, looking on the horizon, what is your plan for the future?
Well, we don't have any immediate leads to Two's whereabouts. Other than that, we know there's a divination expert in Guiding Light who can help us. And Guiding Light was our original destination anyway. Does anyone object to taking a few days rest in town before we get on the road?
On the road again.
Sure. We can say our goodbyes to all the friendly NPCs we've met along the way.
Yeah.
All right.
We might not see Barker or...
Erica,
Yeah.
seamstress.
Oh, I'm gonna miss them.
Well,
We should buy hats.
with your grouped knowledge of the area, you do know there is another major settlement in between Briarton and Guiding Light. There is Ravens Hill, which is quite a sizable town, as well as several small villages that might be a little off the beaten path you could stop by. As well, I believe in the next session, we will handle goodbyes and pushing forward and seeing where lies ahead of you in Guiding Light. Maybe more mysteries will be revealed, maybe not. But for now, I think this is a good place to end our game.